Well, we've all seen some dross 0-0 half-time scores, but actually that was fairly entertaining, wasn't it, Rob?
Yeah, it was an open game. You know, I mean, like the first 5-10 minutes, Norwich started really well on the front foot. Swansea had to defend valiantly at times. And then once they weathered that storm, they came into a bit as an offensive threat and showed what they've got in their locker. You know what I mean? Like, so it just goes to show that sort of with a bit more quality. You know what I mean? Norwich have to be defensive, they have to be at it.
Yeah, and talking in an attacking sense, we're going to pick on some things here which is not too dissimilar to what we've talked about a little bit before, but just talk us through it. We're talking about Placheta again a little bit in Buendia and how Sorensen and Max Aarons play differently and how it affects the whole team and the structure.
Placheta's main threat is his pace, basically. And I've watched him like closely for the last 10, 15, 20 minutes of that half and whatever, like. And I don't know whether it's his enthusiasm or whatever to get on the ball or to make runs and whatever. If I was Placheta, I'd be there, basically, wanting the ball to start with. Because what's happening, basically, the third side, like the right side of centre half there, you know what I mean? When Buendia or Stiepermann's getting the ball in here, Pukki made a great run in there, you know what I mean? And Stiepermann's looked for it, for that pass. Now, if Placheta's out here, that gap stays there. But for some reason, Placheta keeps running in there, and what that does is just block that pass off for Stiepermann. Yeah. You know, I mean, he'll still try it, but that's so much more difficult than if Placheta stays out there, makes a problem for this guy, that space stays there, and Pukki gets the ball where we want Pukki to get the ball.
Particularly as your asset is your pace. He wants to get himself one-on-one with this defender. It was the same as me, it was the same as Hux and Keith O'Neill, going back to those type of players. And you know, Dale Gordon, Rule Fox, you want to get one-on-one with the defender. And what Sorensen is doing is he's not creating any width high up the pitch, is he? So it's got to come from Placheta. You'll be different on this side because Max Aarons will give you a width high, which means then Buendia can go a little bit more central, have a bit more of a free roll. But this side, it's very different, isn't it? Yeah,
because what's happening as well, you mean like you say, Sorensen is a right footer playing at left back. You know what I mean? So there's no desire from Sorensen at all to play high up the field like Max Aarons. So basically what's happening now, you know what I mean, Placheta's running, if Sorensen gets the ball there, he's running from there, so you're going from in to out. So basically, if Sorensen gives him the ball, he's receiving the ball, back to goal, running towards the touchline here. Easy for defenders, but making it so difficult for him to do anything on the ball. If he receives it there, so basically you receive it there, out to in, then all of a sudden, his first threat, right, I'm going to get out of this defender now. You know what I mean? So he must know the game. He must know the game.
And it makes perfect sense as well, because if he stays wide, Sorensen is probably more likely to be a bit more inverted as a defender because he's right-footed.
Absolutely. Let Sorensen come in here. Let Sorensen come in. As sort of like just the safety ball, if Pukki gets it and he's got a defender up his back, give it to Sorensen there. Because what Sorensen can do then, get it, give it to Placheta. You know what I mean? So,
to who?
Placheta. Sorry about that. But like I say, his pace, he's sort of like got to get it and like face the defender straight away rather than running away from goal.
Yeah, frustrating with the assets he's got. I'm going to talk to Grant Holt now, who's on the gantry watching the game for us as well. And I'd imagine, you're going to say similar things to we are, aren't you? I mean, you're watching it from out there. Is it a similar thing for you? Is Placheta frustrating? For you as a centre forward, you probably wouldn't want him coming in so close to you, would you?
Not at all. He's got to stay wider because he's got to give him that option to try and get down the line and get the balls in the box. Look, I think he's rotating in too much. He's got to make a decision to stay wide, try and stretch it a little bit. So, look, that thing. Look, I thought Norwich dominated it. Really, I thought they should have been ahead. They must have a different set of mannequins up at corner because for some reason when he's not on the pitch to take free kicks, no one can get it over the wall. And that's so disappointing. They had 3 great opportunities to test the goalkeeper and they've never done that. But I thought they rolled in well. I thought Emmy started really well. Timo looked sharp today, trying to get on the shoulder. And as for Swansea kind of got it back into it, and that's the threat that they possess. That they've got good enough players, especially at the top end of the pitch, to hurt you. So Norwich have got to keep the wits about them, be a little bit bright, a little bit clever, and try and switch it up a little bit for me.
Is that what teams will do, though? They'll come and play the first half, potentially get through to 0-0, start to feel their way into the game after about 20 minutes, half an hour, and then you'll see more of them in the second half, because the game is there for them, isn't it?
I don't know what it is. I think it's just the way Norwich play. I think that when teams come up against them, they never really know because they do rotate really, really well in terms of Emmy coming in, Max Aarons wide. I thought Bidwell's killing Swansea a little bit. He's too preoccupied about Max Aarons instead of tucking in and helping the centre halves a little bit. And then teams kind of seem to get settled a little bit more and they've got into it, but they've got a threat. I still think Norwich will go on to win the game because I think they've got more than enough for them. But as I said, they've just got to think liven up a little bit, be a bit better in the final third. I thought they were a little bit sloppy towards the end in the final third, not making the right choices, right decisions. If they can up the quality and up the pace a little bit, I think they'll be all right.
Yeah, we'll speak to you in just a second. We're going to speak to Forbes as well, who's in the Barclay for us. I mean, what have you made of that first half, Forbes? Pretty much what we're saying, is it mostly Norwich, but there is still a big threat from Swansea?
There is still a big threat from Swansea, and you look at the personnel they've got, you know they can hit Norwich on the counter-attack very, very quickly. And I think one of the key things for me is that, I don't know what it looks like from your vantage point, but from certainly where I am, it looks like almost Norwich's back four, midfield and strikers are almost too close together, so that's not giving them the opportunity to utilise the size of the pitch, utilise actually stretching play and getting the opportunity for the likes of Timu to get in behind. You mentioned Plachetta's pace. Well, if they are so narrow and so compact and so tight together, there's nowhere for him to go to. So I think if we can get to a situation where we can use the pitch a little bit more, make sure the angles and distances between each of their teammates are a little bit greater, it will give Norwich the opportunity to get in the game. Having said that, you just see where there's a couple of times where Swansea are just letting Norwich have possession in front of them. Then as soon as there is an opportunity to break down that possession and counter-attack quickly, they will do that. So I agree with what Holty said. Norwich has certainly got to keep their wits about them, but they will continue to create opportunities to win this game.
Forbes, you talked about Placheta there a little bit, and you know, you tell me, you're a winger, you're a pacey lad, you used to get at people. Where was your starting position? Is it orders from Farker to tell him to come in more narrow, so it gives Sorensen the opportunity to go around the outside of him, or is he just naturally drifting in like that? I mean, what do you think that's orders? Because I know where I'd want to be, out on the touchline with chalk on my heels.
100% the old-fashioned get wide, chalk on the hills so you can get a nice open body shape and you can see the whole of the pitch. That's what we were taught going back several years. But I think because of the way that Norwich play, the rotation of their midfielders and their attacking players, he will naturally look to come inside to try and get on the ball because that's the way they want to play. Having said that, as was said earlier, if you've got a natural left-footed left back, you come inside, it gives the opportunity for that player to get down the outside. I've not seen that happen too much. So for me, second half, can he get himself in a position where he does do what we spoke about, being high, being wide, having the game, or getting himself in a position where the game is in front of him? So that gives him the opportunity to use his own ability, which is his power, which is his pace, to potentially get round the outside. And that will give him the opportunity to have a foothold in the game. But at this moment, you're looking at that first 45 minutes, I was expecting to see a lot more from him, and hopefully we will see that second half.
And Holty, we just talked a little bit about it there. You know, is this something that players should take responsibility for on the pitch? If you're a centre forward, you're Timo Pukki, would you be saying to Placheta, get out of my space, go and stay wide? Is it down to him to do that, or is it down to Placheta to take it upon himself, or is it the manager's instructions? I
think it's more of a team thing. I think you need to speak a little bit more, try and get that angle. Look, we know that the wingers for Norwich rotating really well, the move inside, and that's the kind of the way they work on it. But I think it's different on the right hand side. You know for a fact Max Aarons is going to come round and Emi Buendia is going to go in. But when you've got the different options at centre halves, it's not like we did last year where Jamal Lewis would go right round the outside here. So I think you've got to take it upon yourselves to think, where can I affect the game the most? And I think if he stays a little bit wide, he'll give Steepy miles more room in the middle of the park, and that's when he'll start sliding balls in to Timu, like we've seen last week at Bristol City.
And that's the point, isn't it, Forbes? It's about actually giving other players the space to work in. It's not about you receiving the balls, what you can do sometimes. It's about creating that space and opportunity for players like Buendia, Stiepermann, Pukki to be able to work in.
And that goes back to what I said a few moments ago about, I just think it's a little bit too compact across the whole of the pitch, which actually plays into Swansea's hands because they do like to play 1 and 2 touch football, which will then allow them to penetrate so many of the lines of the Norwich City team. But it is, as Holty says, can you look at it from a team perspective? How does the whole team almost change their performance or change their style somewhat second half to allow the right players to get on the ball in the right areas? If you can get the likes of Emi Buendia in space receiving on a half turn, you know he can unlock any defence. But at the moment, it's not been a position or not been a situation where Norwich have been able to get those people on the ball to allow Timu Pukki to time his runs and be slidden on goal. But again, you know, they've got 45 minutes now where they can go and work on those areas of development, shall we say, and fingers crossed we'll see a different performance second half.
Top stuff, boys. Enjoy the second half. Robert, look, they've both talked similar things to what we said there. So, but is that, like I said to Granty, is that for Placheta to realise that? Is it for Pukki to tell him that? Is it for the manager to tell him? Or are they going to stick to what the manager wants? Is Placheta doing that off his own accord? Or does he want to come in that way? Or has he been told he needs to get in a bit more?
You mean, like I say, the general focus on play is for wingers to come in. But that's when you've got two fullbacks that are comfortable right-footed, left-footed. At the moment, Norwich haven't got a comfortable left-footed left-back. Basically, he doesn't want to get forward. So Placheta needs to stay out wide. And I get what Forbesy says and whatever, like, is to move. You've got to have some sort of like logic saying, I'm just going to stay out here. The worst scenario is basically I'm not going to get the ball. But me not getting the ball but staying wide is going to drag one of the right-sided centre-halves. So that leaves space for Buendia, Steepleman to get the ball. As soon as he goes in, it just, everything becomes compact.
And he's not afraid to move, because at points in that first half, we've seen him playing right across here on the right wing trying to get the ball. Yeah. So does he just need to do a little bit more
I think
his side?
that's enthusiasm. You know what I mean? Like you see, he's new to English football. He wants to be the main guy, and quite rightly so. Like, I mean, he wants to be the one to show, I can do this, I can do that. But you know, mate, sometimes it's just best just standing still. When you stand still, you create more problems than running around. You know what I mean? Like a headless chicken. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I say, just stay wide, get the ball, do what you're good at. But what you're doing is making space in the middle for people who can open the doors with passes.
Yeah, and someone who can do that is Anel Hernandez, who's obviously not available today through injury. But we did catch up with him before in the week, talking about his teammates. Take a look at this.
I would say Emi Buendia. He's very skillful. He has always some nice priority situations in a game and always a move parade for my skills. Emi, Todd, and I would say Lucas as well. That's for me the three that I would say they have a very good, clean, nice first touch. I would say me, of course, because I'm least. Oh, sorry, I don't want to say that. Sorry. I have to say there's only one, and his name is Pepe. He is very, very quick. Definitely Zimbo. He shows up every time that he is very smart. I would say it's Emi. He mourns a lot. He's but not in a bad way, like he is always mourning when he lost the ball or is angry with situations. He's very emotional, that's why he has this temperament. The best jokes, I would really say it before Tim Klose, but he's not more here. I would like to have Mario Randes as my manager, and Grant Henley. And Zimbo as well. Like, these are the guys who I would say they could have after the career good manager career. Pukki looks sometimes like he don't have style or fashion, but like he's still better than Zimbo, because Zimbo sometimes comes like from an old Western movie sometimes in the changing room, and I think, oh my God, what happened? Zimbo is like really horrible. The longest in the shower is 100% Mario Randes. He's, for me, such a diva. You always have to do his hair right, look if he's looking good, and he's really the longest in the shower, always.
Seems like quite a character, doesn't he, Rob?
Yeah.
Anel?
But we've seen that over the last few weeks. I mean, the camaraderie in the squad looks really, really good, and you can just, you know what I mean, I'd say that it's just different people every week, isn't it? You're just saying.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Look, we've got the teams that come back up for the second half now. Swansea, 3 central defenders, all on yellow cards. Yeah. As a manager, what would you be saying coming into the second half now?
Get at them. Get at them. So, like, you know what I mean, put them under pressure. You know what I mean, pass the ball quickly in the final third of the game, because they got yellow cards because they're diving in. You know what I mean? And if they've got that in their makeup, they'll be diving in again. So one more rash tackle, quick pass, quick link-up play around, then you're down to 10 men. One of the big, strong centre-halves go off the pitch, and hopefully it'll make it easier.
And that's what should play into some like Buendias and Pukkis and Placheta to get at them now, because they can't make that mistakes, can they? So it suits Norwich to be able to do that, because they will have to be a bit more protective over the kind of tackles they make.
Absolutely. Try and isolate each one of those 3 centre-halves. If they defend compactly and as a unit, it's more difficult because they don't have to tackle. But when it's 1v1s, and like you've got someone like Buendia, Placheta and Pukki who's got the ability to beat them, one foul, one rash tackle, it's another yellow.
Yeah, and looking at the minute, Swansea aren't even out yet. I mean, Norwich are all back out on the pitch ready to start the second half. Is that mind games? Is it they going over stuff in the dressing rooms to make sure they, you know, once you've had 15, 20 minutes, surely that's enough, isn't it? This is just a bit of a mind games.
No, absolutely. I mean, like I say, probably Steve Cooper, something you've done from the FA. You know what I mean? Like a mindset, psychology coach, and said, like, listen, let them get out there. You know what I mean? Like, we'll wait. And it does nothing because it's a nice day, isn't it? Really, I mean, you want to get out there, and like you say, you want to get at it. You know what I mean? So for Norwich, it shouldn't affect them at all.
And what do you think? Much of Norwich, much of the same, or much?
I think so. Yeah, like I say, they try and go with the players they want and what they want to do and what they want to play. The passes, they've got to keep it as much space as they can. So make the pitch big when you've got the ball.
Fingers crossed for a decent second half. We'll see you at the end.
Swimming at night, she's been calling to me. Hold my breath in the pool, but she's been underwater in the Indian Sea. I've been doing it right, can't forget what you said. When you're finished with you, babe, you should come and find me in the Sea of Cortez. No way.